According to Judith Penny, Ed Warren initiated a relationship with her when she was only 15. She used to take his bus and he developed...
Oh, that is more damning than anything. Beardos, widows, boys and girls, how are you all doing? This is a re-upload of the live stream from Tuesday. Unfortunately, I took it down because when certain things about Ed Warren came to light, I said some things that could get me in a lot of trouble. I don't regret saying them, but it's I suppose it's against terms of service, and I didn't want to take the risk. As well as that, I started to speak about a project that I've been working on and started to show evidence that I've garnered as part of this project. And a few people were like, why are you showing this? You should be keeping this. So, yeah, I pulled the live stream, but I'm going to re-upload just the reaction to the Y-Files, the Warrens cases. It's a fantastic episode. We really enjoyed it live. I hope you enjoy this re-upload, a shortened version, because I'll take out the stuff where I'm smashing buttons and the things that that I was engaging in chat with that were nothing to do with the case. Just before we get there, I've already recorded this bit once, and my microphone was muted, and I thought I'd recorded it again, and my PC wasn't recording. I'm looking at the volume going up and down, but yeah, the PC wasn't on. I hadn't actually pressed record, so I wasted my time twice doing this bit. So everything is in one box now. It came in 3 boxes from 3 people. Now it's all in one box because I'm an idiot. So the first letter is, hello Beardo and Mrs. Geek. Just a few goodies to say thanks for your content and really enjoyed watching your videos and joining in the chat. When you see my photo in the chat, you think I'm someone else. I thought you were someone I investigated with. I do apologise. As a lady of large proportions, I also get called out for wearing vests. My missus goes mad if I go outside wearing one, says she's worried about what I may reveal, and she has to face the neighbours. Thanks again, Pat, a.k.a. Kestrel Pat. Pat, let him swing. Let him swing. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And then we got a card here. Birthday card. Spirit level instructions. Position the level. Observe the bubble. Adjust if necessary. Check for plumb. Accuracy check optional. To Beardo, congratulations. You now know how to use a spirit level. Good luck. Good luck? Do you mean luck? Aha. You mocked me and I mock you in return. Just another little box here. I thought with the weather we're having, you would appreciate a window cover to match a steering wheel cover. And some funky horror socks. Hope you're all well. Love from Mandy and Rich Priest Badger. Much love from Cornwall. Now, obviously, I'm not going to act surprised because I have already opened them. I just happen to be an idiot. There is a drawer, well, there's 2 drawers now, full of all the letters and cards that have ever been sent to me. I don't bin any of them. They get kept as much as the gifts do, including stuff like this piece of shit that I don't want. Backstreet Boys Penny. The first thing, this is from Adam and Reach, is... Ta-da! Windscreen cover. And yeah, I have been suffering. My air conditioning has been broke in my car, so I have been suffering the last few months. I have a panoramic sunroof, which is tinted. All my side windows are tinted. Windscreen is not. My car gets hot as hell. Lifesaver. Could you have sent this in May, please? These next 2 things have come from Julia, aka Black Cat. She has sent us the ring bitch that you can see over there, the smaller ring bitch that lives in the corner there. All of the 3D printed stuff back there, the Frankenstein and stuff that she did from the Bigfoot tours. And what incredibly kind lady and other half, Bill. Look at this. They've 3D printed us this Ozzy Osbourne memorial there. And then this one. How cool is that? I'm a huge Ozzy fan. I will find somewhere to put these, even though I'm running out of room. Although I've started on the ceiling now. There's loads more to go up there. More horror goodies, Camp Crystal Lake sign. There is one on the door there, but it's a portrait mode one with an image of Camp Crystal Lake, so I don't have this. The door is covered in signs. We've got signs on the bathroom. Love them. We've also got a back junk room where all the guitars and stuff are, and I've got Thor Fantastic Four tin plates on the wall as well. So we'll do the horror socks. If I keep looking weird, it's because I've moved my monitors, I've got different arms for them, and I've moved my camera. I've got a second camera up there again. I've got a teleprompter over there that I never use. You can just about see it there. Is that it? Yeah, you can just about see it there. So socks. Chucky. Everybody loves Chucky. Well, I do. Fred Krueger. Love me some Fred Krueger. Ghostface. Most of these I've got in Funko Pop format and NECA figure format, some of them more than once. I love horror, in case you couldn't tell. More Chucky socks. That's cotton, not a bugger. And Jason Voorhees socks. Legends. Oh, the vests and t-shirts came from Kestrel Pat, as did the socks. Yeah, I think I've got this right. You got a vest that says horror movie whore? Yes, I am. Give me that carnage candy. Paranormal Investigator tank top. This isn't a vest tank top because it's got the wider shoulders for you Americans that keep arguing with me. With this being a mesh style top, this is definitely going on after this video for the live stream tonight. Now, this design I have in a shirt, but now I also have it in a t-shirt, which is epic, and it's pretty much... It is a load of the horror villains from old movies all the way up to the 80s. I'm not going to list them all, but there's tons on there. Absolutely brilliant. I hope Karma slaps you in the face before I do. Appropriate these days. Don't worry, it's not my blood. And then we have a Freddy 1-2 is coming for you sticker. It'll go on one of the cabinets somewhere. There are stickers all over this, and you just can't see it. I need another light for there, because my shelving light has died again. Living the dream. Freddy Krueger. Everybody's dream guy. And this is really cool. This is definitely going on the ceiling, 100%. It's a Fred Krueger film cell canvas print. You can buy these in like conventions and stuff. Absolutely awesome. So that's going to go up on the ceiling. I think I'll put it above my desk. So Freddy's always looking down on me. Anyway, on to the live stream. I hope you enjoy. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff. I hope you enjoy it. Much love to you all. Beardo out.
Ed and Lorraine Warren are maybe the most famous paranormal investigators in history. They've worked on more than 10,000 cases, some of which have been made into books and movies. The Conjuring films are based on the work of the Warrens. 1975, Amityville, New York.
Whoa.
What?
We're jumping right in with Amityville? I don't know about this. You know I don't like to be scared.
Yeah, I know, but we took a vote on the channel and most people said they wanted scary stories.
Oh yeah, well then they should be the ones that clean my bowl after I myself.
Okay, that's enough.
I'm just saying there are gonna be consequences.
December 1975.
I love that fish. You can buy that fish. I've considered it. I really have. What do you mean the fish is annoying?
Amityville, New York. George and Kathleen Lutz were house hunting. Though the asking price of 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville was higher than their budget, at $18,000, it was a steal.
Not the house in Jaws. If you watch the first Jaws, when they cut the shark open, I thought I spot the Amityville house. Then I'm like, Amity Island, Amityville. Ooh, it's the same house. It's not. There are thousands of these shaped houses with those windows in America. I just didn't know.
Soon the Lutzes learned why. A year earlier, in the house, 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr., also known as Butch, snapped. On November 13th at 3:15 a.m., he slowly and systematically went bedroom to bedroom and murdered his entire family.
This is the only question I've got with Amityville. He used this isn't an air rifle, and he systematically killed all of these people, shooting them in their beds while they slept. How in the hell did nobody wake up? It does make me wonder if he wasn't alone in it. Surprised Baggins hasn't bought it. The current homeowners changed the windows to stop people going there. They want nothing to do with it, and the house isn't haunted.
Butch DeFeo's father, mother, 2 sisters, and 2 brothers were all shot with a .35 caliber rifle while they slept.
Yes, you could buy the fish. Yeah, no one had shot. It's the only part of the story that possibly sleeping meds, suspected drugged. Yeah, but there was no proof. There was no proof. A 22 is fairly quiet in a house, in a closed house. Some of these kids shared a bed.
Butch claimed he heard voices urging him to kill. His attorney, William Weber, tried the insanity defense, but it didn't work. In November 19...
I have a theory on why they didn't wake up. I'm going to be doing some FOIAs to try and get the autopsy tox report. I think I know what drugs he used. Oh, very interested in that.
75, Butch was sentenced to 6 consecutive life sentences. 1 month later, George and Kathleen Lutz, along with their 3 children, moved in to the DeFeo house. The Lutzes weren't that religious, but they asked a local priest to bless the house. While the family...
Would they do an autopsy on headshots? I'd assume they'd do an autopsy on any murder, especially something that weird, to see if they were drugs. Unless it was but that many people? I wonder how loud a .22 is. It's not like a 22 in the UK.
Family was unpacking. Father Pecoraro was in an upstairs room praying. As soon as he splashed holy water, the priest heard a voice that said, "Get out."
No, he
Father
didn't.
Pecoraro didn't tell the Lutzes specifically what happened, but he warned them not to use that second floor room for a bedroom and stay out of the room altogether if they could.
Did they stay out?
They wish they did.
I don't like this.
Within a few days, the Lutzes noticed strange activity.
Wasn't Butch the one who used "Devil Made Me Do It" as a defense? No, that was DeFeo. No. Yeah, that was a completely separate case. That was the Warrens trying to get somebody off with fucking murder. And that's what it was. It was a drunken argument. It was some guy stopping his missus. Stabbed the guy numerous times. Outright crime.
At first, it was just sounds. Doors slamming, footsteps, strange mumbling. Then the house wouldn't get warm, no matter
this
how
is
high
Ronnie,
they turned up the heat. So they kept a fire going.
This is Ronnie. This is Ann Johnson. I've confused myself now. This is Ronnie Butch DeFeo, so Ann Johnson is the other one. Sorry, I confused myself there. He got away with it? No, he spent a lot of time in prison. Not as much as he should have. A 22 in rifle form isn't much louder than a cap gun. But in an enclosed house, in the middle of the night, I'd hear a cap gun in my house to shit my pants.
Going day and night. George sometimes saw demonic faces in the fire. Missy Lutz, then 5 years old, started talking about an imaginary friend named Jody. Green slime was found oozing from the walls and through keyholes. Doors and windows were found suddenly damaged. One night, George saw his wife Kathy transform into an old woman who looked like a witch. He saw hoof prints in the snow leading into their house. George would wake up at 3:15 every morning, the same time the DeFeo family was killed. One night, he heard his children's bed slamming up and down on the floor, but he couldn't do anything about it because...
Right, let's have a look. I'm sorry, but even if it was subsonic, that he heard that, it's not Bathsheba. That may turn up in this as well. But for all you guys that are like, oh, but this is debunking, why are you watching this? He debunks after the fact as well. That air rifle sounded pretty loud. Not air rifle, rifle.
Because he was paralyzed in bed by an unseen force.
Nelly said,
Later
appreciate
that
it.
night, he saw his wife levitating and moving across the bed. The next morning, after only 28 days, the Lutzes had enough. They left the Amityville house and all their belongings and moved in with friends.
Bullshit.
And that's when
He just said he was a 38. Ronald DeFeo Jr. used a .35 caliber lever action Marlin. Right. Better not give me a fish.
Hey guys, it's Clint with the Lever Action Hunter. First
That's
shots
the
with my new
That's the accent you want to hear when somebody's got a shotgun, right?
Marlin 336 Classic. Let's check it out. Wow. Hey guys, it's Clint.
Yeah, nobody heard that. What the fuck? And that's outside. Imagine, did he have a silencer? No, I don't think anyone's mentioned a silencer. Hey, evening, Jimbo. Also, DeFeo case is a huge story. The Lutz knew about it before they moved in. They were aware of what happened in the house. I know George said he didn't tell the rest of the family, but
they brought in the Warrens. On March 6th, Ed and Lorraine Warren conducted a seance in the house.
They didn't bring in the Warrens. The Warrens were long after they'd gone. I think he's just said the dates right, yeah?
With several psychics. Lorraine, a clairvoyant, said she encountered Butch's spirit during the seance and felt what she described as an overwhelming feeling of horrible depression.
The inhuman, the diabolical, are attracted to where tragedies occur, just like a moth would be attracted to a light.
Slip of the tongue.
And when the Lutz family moved in 13 months after these murders,
Hey, Will West,
they were
how you
still
doing?
using some of the furniture that was in there.
Ed Warren said the house was possessed by demons. The psychic team took a series of time-lapse photos of the upstairs landing. None of the photographs showed anything out of the ordinary, except one.
This, I don't know if he is going to be aware of who Kenny Biddle is, but one of the greatest debunks, or potential debunks of this photograph that I have seen is what Kenny Biddle did. On who he thinks this is, how it was created, or accidentally created. I don't know if he's going to mention Kenny, because I don't know how long ago this was compared to Kenny's video, but I think Kenny has absolutely debunked this photo.
Keep in mind that Butch DeFeo's little brother John was only 9 years old on the night he was killed. The photo shows, peering out from one of the bedrooms, a little boy with glowing eyes. After the Lutzes moved out of the house, things returned to normal. 2 years later, they would tell their story to author Jay Anson, who released the book, The Amityville Horror.
I thought that this was the book. they said they're all crazy, make it scary. But I read the other day that it wasn't. It was in... Was it the Snedeker haunting? He was like, they're all crazy, just make it up, make it scary. I thought it was this book, and it's not.
The book was an instant sensation, selling over 6 million copies. The story gained even more notoriety in 1979 when the movie Amityville Horror hit theaters. Since then, 12 books and a total of 28 films have been inspired by the story. Today, the Amityville house looks much like it did in the 70s.
For a bottle of wine.
After all this time, it's still one of the most famous and frightening houses in the country, and maybe the world.
The Warrens were not the real deal. You'll never convince me otherwise.
In 1970, Donna, a nursing student, received a gift from her mother for her 28th birthday, a Raggedy Ann doll. Donna loved the doll and took it back to her house that she shared with another young nurse named Angie. The doll's place in the house was sitting up on the couch, but Donna and Angie...
This story is so bullshit. We haven't even got the original people's testimonies.
Noticed the doll would be found in different rooms. Donna would set her on the living room couch before she left for work. She'd come home and the doll was...
Nick's the current owners of that house say nothing has ever happened there, spooky or otherwise, other than people just keep turning up, taking photographs and asking can they come in, and it really pisses them off. Hence why they changed the windows. But yeah, if you're into debunkings of the Warrens, then Flurio, Kenny Biddle, and Truth or Demons podcast with Stevie, they've done a lot on it. Very, very good in-depth work as well. Raggedy Ann is scary. No, she's not. Were they fake in your opinion? 100%.
In her room with the door shut. Then Donna and Angie started finding notes around the apartment. They were written in child's handwriting and said, "Help me." And the notes were written on parchment paper that they didn't have in the house. One day they came home and the doll had moved again. But this time it had a sticky red substance on its hands that appeared to be blood. Within a few hours, the red substance was gone. Angie's boyfriend Lou said the doll gave him a creepy feeling and told him to get rid of it. They wouldn't.
How can anyone be scared by this? Really? They didn't even pick a creepy doll. It was like something at the yard sale.
That night, while Lou was sleeping, he heard a noise in the room.
You can like the Warrens all you care to. Honestly, you can like who you like, you can dislike who you dislike. It makes no difference to me. I do not believe in a single thing that they did. Just my take on it.
Room, like someone was walking around. Then he felt something on the bed. He looked up and said the doll was quickly crawling on the bed on his body. He went to yell, but the doll covered his mouth and choked him until he passed out. The next morning, he tried to convince himself that it was all a dream, but he couldn't shake it. Donna and Angie didn't know what to do. They felt like they were going crazy. They contacted a local medium for help.
Sounds like Toy Story. No, if you look up, Outer Limits? There's a story in there about a killer doll. And even the mum of the doll owner's name is Annabelle. They took so much, and it was, 2 years later? Twilight Zone, thank you, Trekkie Turtle. Yeah, 2 years later, they come up with almost the same story. The guy with the motorcycle crash, that was a load of cack.
The medium held a seance and told the women that the doll was possessed by a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins. They later found out that the body of a young girl was found on the property years earlier, before their apartment building was built. The medium told the girls that
the Raggedy Ann doll came to life in a children's book. Did it? There's tons of tales of dolls coming to life, right? Ed was a big fan of the Twilight Zone too. Yeah, it's all over his bulkaka.
The doll, who they now called Annabelle, just wanted someone
the living
to play
doll.
with,
The episode was called The Living Doll,
and care for her. Annabelle asked permission to stay in the doll and live with the young nurses.
The young nurses said no, they got rid of the doll, the end.
Nope, they kept it.
I was afraid you'd say that.
They felt bad for Annabelle and agreed to let her stay in the doll and they would take care of her.
Yes, this doll is demonic, dangerous, it can kill, evil. We'll keep it in a rabbit hutch. Stick a tarot card and don't open this. Tony Spearman keeps the doll now. Actually, he's rented it out for 5 years to a comedian and a fake paranormal investigator. And Tony Spearer has just told anyone that is skeptical of the Warrens and the doll that they are going to burn in hell.
That turned out to be a terrible mistake. After the medium left, Angie and Donna explained the story to Lou to try to get him to come around. He said the story just made it worse. Get rid of the doll. they still said no. Over the next days and weeks,
Because you can't make money if you get rid of it.
the strange activities continued. Sounds in the middle of the night, Annabelle moving from room to room, and now the notes changed from help me to
You knew
help
it was
Lou.
scary.
One day, Lou was helping Donna and Angie pack for a road trip. He saw that Annabelle looked like she was just thrown onto the floor, so he went over to pick her up, and then he felt a sharp pain in his chest. He looked down and saw blood seeping through his shirt. Underneath, he had 7 long, bloody scratches in the shape of the mark of the beast. Within 2 days, the marks disappeared like they were never there.
Maybe the beast uses neosporin.
Please, no one-liners when I'm trying to be scary.
Hey, I'm just trying to keep it light. All right, go ahead.
Finally,
Why would they take the Annabelle on tour? Same reason they think that oven gloves or welding gloves can protect them, or a litter picker can protect them. It's all a lot of bullshit.
Angie and Donna agreed to do something. They called the church and explained what was happening. The church reached out to Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed Warren was the only layperson recognized by the church as a demonologist. The Warrens arrived and spoke to the young women at length. Ed and Lorraine
Sorry, Flurio. So much stuff happened with the boyfriend around. I think you're trying to get. Are there any documentation from the original people that owned the doll? Because as far as I thought, they just pulled it out of thin air. Almost like they watched that episode, bought a doll, and made the entire story up. Didn't sell them. A lot of people have said that Ed sold the original doll, but I can't find any proof of it. All about the money in the tour? Of course it is. And unfortunately, when a gentleman had unfortunately passed away, he's only 10 years older than me, leaving behind his kids, everyone was more concerned about the fucking doll. I mean, fair play to the guys from Overnight and Matt Rife giving £90,000 to his family. We'll never take that from them. Fucking fair play. Tony Spira, how deep are your pockets? Are you helping the family?
explained that the doll was not possessed by a little girl,
Stevie interviewed
but
a
possessed
reporter
by
who
a demon. And now
Ah.
that the demon was invited to live there, it would try to find a human host. The Warrens agreed to take the doll and put it somewhere the demon couldn't.
Don't touch the doll! Apparently, that wasn't the original doll. They had another one just for photographs. So how do we know that the one people are paying for to watch now is the real doll?
escape. So Ed put Annabelle in the back seat of the car. He suggested that they don't take freeways home, and he was right. Several times on the drive,
I honestly don't know enough about Robert the doll. Really don't know enough about it. No, they've just nicked it or bought a Raggedy Ann doll from a garage somewhere, I thought. But apparently it did come from somebody that has been interviewed.
the car tried to run itself off the road, and the brakes would give out, come back, and then give out again. Ed turned around and splashed holy water on Annabelle, and after that, the car worked fine. Even after they got Annabelle home, it continued to torment and terrorize. It would move around the house, and at some point, Ed found the doll levitating near his desk. One day, a young priest was visiting and saw Annabelle. He mocked the doll and said, "You're just a doll, you can't hurt anyone."
Bad move, Padre.
Well, on his way home,
He said Peter wrong, but never mind, I said it now. Stevie also picks them holding a party where they were all playing with Annabelle after they made up the bullshit about not touching it. Then they started saying that they had a spare doll for photos.
his brakes gave out and the priest was killed. Several people who mocked Annabelle ended up in car wrecks soon after. Finally, the Warrens put Annabelle in a glass case. And on the case is a note that ominously says, "Positively do not open." Today, Annabelle still sits in her glass case at the Occult Museum in the Warrens' house. Ghost hunters, mediums, and psychics still visit Annabelle to this day. All report feeling a dark, negative energy coming from the doll. But nobody opens the case, and everyone treats her with respect.
Zach Bagans finger blasted that doll without permission, and he's still alive. Just saying. This poor woman's memory. Of all of the things the Warrens did, this ranks up there with the worst of the worst. This woman's gravestone was destroyed because of the story that they made up about her. Just check, as far as I know, the Bible never explained what the mark of the beast looks like, only a placement on the hands. So what are these 7 scratches about? Dunno.
When The Conjuring was released in 2013, it was praised not just for being extremely scary, but for feeling like a true story.
5 Lavi, I'm pretty sure that's not a real goldfish. Just saying.
That's because it is. In January 1971, the Perron family moved into an old farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. Almost immediately, Carolyn, Roger, and their 5 daughters saw strange things happening. Like most of these stories, the first activity was so small that it would go unnoticed, like things being out of place. Carolyn would notice that her broom would never be in the same place she left it. Then the noises started. Loud thuds, footsteps, and
Joe Vitale did a deep dive into it as well. I know Stevie's covered it. If you want to debunk this case in particular, read Angela Perron. Angela? No. What is it with names tonight? Perron's books. House of Light, House of Dark, and something else. She's done 3 books, and all 3 of them conflict.
the sounds of people moving around in the kitchen. One day, Carolyn found muddy footprints and small
It's a
piles
real
of
fish.
dirt on her freshly washed kitchen floor. Then the girls started seeing spirits around the house. Most of the spirits ignored the girls, but a few didn't.
Andrea,
and all
thank
those
you.
spirits were angry. 8-year-old Cindy Perron kept hearing a voice whispering in her bedroom. It said, "There are 7 dead soldiers in the walls." One day, Carolyn walked into the kitchen and saw a man standing there just leaning against the wall. She said he was wearing old-time clothes, which makes sense. The house was built in 1736.
I nearly bought Andrea Perron's books, but I found a website where you can just read wherever you want for free. So if it's a good book, I'll buy it, or I'll at least buy the digital format. If it's a book I'm reading just to catch people out, I'll use one of those dodgy sites for it. I just gotta skip ads every now and again.
Ghosts also appeared sitting at their dining room table, and some seemed to be aware that the Perrons were there. The ghost pointed at them and then vanished. Other ghosts ignored them before disappearing. So Carolyn researched the history of the house and discovered it had been in the Arnold family for generations. She thought the man she saw in the kitchen was John Arnold. Carolyn learned there had been at least 8 deaths on the property, some of them gruesome.
Now, in my own research, right, let me see if I've still got it, because I was going to make a massive video on this, but there's so many out there that I gave up. Have I got the Conjuring House on here? Basically, I've gone through the history and owners of the house, and the history is all wrong. All of it. Basically, I've got all of this stuff. So you've got the Conjuring House there, Manning Arnold, John and Abigail Arnold's farm, and from the look of it, and the Arnold family plot, from the look of it, some of the Arnolds that they say died in the Conjuring House had never even been there. They were there. You should make it. I'm not very good at that sort of stuff.
A few of them, children. Carolyn learned that the primary evil force was the spirit of a woman named Bathsheba Sherman who lived in the house in the mid-19th century. She was...
No, she didn't.
Not a nice lady. She had a reputation for beating and starving the hired help. While her husband Judson farmed the land, she took care of the house. Bathsheba had 4 children, 3 of whom died very young. Local legend claims Bathsheba was a witch because an infant, while in her care, mysteriously died. The cause of death was determined to be a sewing needle that impaled the baby's skull. Locals believe that this was an offering to the devil, but Bathsheba was never convicted of any wrongdoing. When Bathsheba died, legend says she turned to stone. The parents said that at 5:15 every morning, there would be the smell of rotten flesh in the house, and the air would become terribly cold and the heat wouldn't work. One especially scary night, Roger Perron's bed was lifted into the air and dropped. Soon Carolyn started feeling like Bathsheba was
Bathsheba, the name, only sounds evil because of the Warrens and the movies. That's the only reason that name evokes this evil witch creature, is because of the way she has been portrayed.
Trying to make her kill her children the way Bathsheba killed hers. That's when the Perrons called Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah, Cody and Satori talked to Abigail Arnold. I have no idea. I mean, they were talking to his ankle. Yes, I'm friends with Jason, but I don't believe those pair.
Warren for help. The Warrens spent a few hours walking the house and talking to the Perrons. Then they performed a seance against Roger Perron's wishes. Here's Roger in his own words.
The Warrens came over and they did the seance in the house, and that was not a good thing. I was against it, but they did it anyway. And 3 to 5 minutes into the seance, and my wife got all her whole body went out of shape and extorted. And it was like an extortion. Somebody was squeezing her, and her chair got off.
This is from Amityville to Annabelle, the truth of Ed and Lorraine Warren's scariest cases by the Y-Files. He does debunk stuff after the fact, so please go and check it out.
Off the floor and
this
came
isn't
right into the
a
next
glowing
room.
piece about
And
the Warrens.
I tried
It might
to
be.
help her.
Hope not.
You know, she was completely out of this world at that point, speaking crazy words, and I tried to help her.
At that point, Roger had seen enough. He actually punched Ed in the mouth and threw the Warrens out of the house and told them never to return.
Bathsheba was the name of a queen in the Bible, technically one who followed old false gods. There is a Bible aspect of it being evil, however, the parents' dog had the name that's the connection. Ah. Didn't know that.
But soon after the seance, the haunting stopped.
It was never there. Antonia, I'm sorry, I'm not going to read your last name because I will butcher it and I don't want to offend you. Thank you for the €5. So many people's names are wrongfully hated now just because some can make a profit from them. Bathsheba was just an unlucky lady. Witch hunt. Absolutely 100%. 100%.
August 1977, Enfield, North London. This is considered one of the events that proves the existence of poltergeists.
Say what you will about this case. Why Ed and Lorraine Warren, apart from the movie, get dragged into this, I don't know. Because they turned up and were told you're not needed. And they went home.
Peggy Hodgson had just put her children to bed when she heard the sound of a chair being dragged across the bedroom floor.
ATFG,
Peggy went
I'm
into
good,
the
thank
room
you.
and her daughters were under their blankets, terrified. The chair was upside down on the floor, and they said they didn't do it. They said the chair moved on its own. So Peggy turned out the lights and then heard the sound of scraping. When she turned the lights back on, she saw a dresser slide
Do you know Sheba was actually my great-grandmother's dog's name?
18 inches across the floor. Peggy wasn't quite sure what was happening. She tried to push the dresser back into place, but it wouldn't budge. Peggy called her neighbors over to make sure she wasn't going crazy. The neighbors also heard the sounds. Peggy finally called the police. One of the responding officers said she heard knocking or tapping and saw the chair while.
Wait, Lorraine thought the dog's name was the link that stirred up the Bathsheba ghost. Should the local library saw Bathsheba. Jesus.
Then she saw the chair slide across the floor about 3 feet. This is in the official police report, but the police said there's no crime, so there's nothing they can do. After a couple of months, everyone in the house was sleeping in the same room. And then the activity got worse. Voices of an old man started coming from Janet, and her lips weren't moving.
This voice is coming from an 11-year-old girl.
Well, perhaps, Guy, perhaps you've got something to say to them.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how you make this noise without bashing
The looks on
Mechanics'
those
vocal
kids.
cords to pieces. If I do it for half a minute, I get a sore throat.
Whose choice is here?
Peggy didn't know where to turn, so she went to the media. Soon reporters and paranormal investigators descended on the family, performing test after test. There are photos of Janet being levitated out of bed. There's video of knocking sounds
jumping.
responding to
I mean, that calf muscle there is fully locked. The foot, as much as I hate feet, she's launched herself there.
questions
Every
from
photo
mediums.
she's launched herself.
Guy Playfair was a writer and parapsychologist with the Society for Psychical Research. He spent a great deal of time with the family. He witnessed a lot of
was
poltergeist
born in the
activity with
70s.
his own eyes. By 1978, the Enfield poltergeist attracted the attention of Ed and Lorraine Warren. At this point in time, the Warrens were icons in paranormal research. They flew to London to investigate. Ed Warren was convinced there was a demonic presence. The voice coming from Janet said its name was Bill and that he lived and died in the house. The voice said that he had died of a brain hemorrhage while sitting in a chair. Bill's son confirmed all of that was true.
When I saw this footage of Tina doing the voice after in the book about it, terrified me. When it became an adult, I realised she's just doing what we all did with it. Yeah, this was one of those cases that I looked at as a kid, and it fucking terrified me. Really scared me. One of the things that made me convinced that it was all real, and then as an adult, you watch it back, and it's just like, oh. Angie Metzner, thank you for the $2. Appreciate it. I thought initially that there could have been something there and the girls were scared and then they just played up to it. And whatever happened there, we'll never know the truth, I don't think. It's clearly affected the one girl. She's a nervous wreck, but I don't know if that's to do more with the press and the fame, because for a little while it's all fun and good, but then you hear stories of how these kids were treated. If you listen to the Battersea poltergeist story, that girl Shirley was treated horrifically.
Some months later, Gross was contacted by Terry Wilkins, whose father Bill was buried in a nearby cemetery and had lived at the house before the Hodgsons moved in.
I had an hemorrhage.
She was able to do the voice while having water in her mouth taped up, whilst nobody was looking at her.
And I fell asleep. And I died in
Cynthia, Bossy Boss, how are you doing? Thank you for the 16 months at Early Access. Hello, my fellow weirdos. Hope you're on a fantabulous day. We are, thank you. I think full-grown adults felt for this when it first came out. We didn't know as much as we know.
in a corner downstairs.
Astonishingly, the voice had described the precise circumstances of Bill Wilkins' death.
But it describes exactly how
That's exactly what happened.
The film was really good.
Died in the chair, down in the living room.
In all, there were more than 30 witnesses who saw furniture
Yeah, stories by Kim. I heard they turned up, told they weren't wanted, and went on their merry way. Ed didn't sing no Elvis to them.
moving, objects flying around, cold breezes, physical assaults,
Roll side, you can make
pools
that
of
voice.
water appearing on the floor, graffiti, and matches spontaneously igniting. The Enfield poltergeist tortured Peggy, Janet, and the entire family for 18 months. It almost ruined their lives. Then, as quickly as it started, it stopped.
Daryl J. Dennis, thank you for the 9 months as a Beardo Weirdo. Happy birthday, Beardo. Here's to 9 more months. I would ban you, but I don't press buttons while we are reacting. A girl was smoking 20 Marlboro a day.
The Snedekers lived in upstate New York, but found themselves traveling to Connecticut a lot.
This is another one that really grips my shit. The young boy in this story, he was very, very ill, going through cancer treatment. As well as the cancer treatment, he had... I'm having another brain fart. Why do I keep brain farting? I'm very, very sorry. I don't know why. Jesus. It's gone. Guys, help me out. What was it that he had? Schizophrenia. It's schizophrenia. Like, that wasn't bad enough. The whole the adults were alcoholics. The adults were quite violent to each other by some counts. And then the Warrens came in, made things worse, and then said that there was necrophilia had happened there. And the whole town was just like, they were well respected. Jesus Christ. I cannot believe the shit they said about innocent people.
Philip, eldest son of Carmen and Alan Snedeker, had Hodgkin's lymphoma, and his hospital was in Connecticut. In 1986, Carmen and Alan had had enough of the commute and decided to rent something near the Yukon Hospital. They packed up their 4 children and 2 of their nieces and moved to a spacious duplex on a quiet street in Southington, Connecticut.
There is a movie called Haunted in Connecticut that doesn't feature Ed and Lorraine Warren, and it's a good movie.
As soon as they moved in, Alan began renovations on the basement to make a bedroom for Philip. While cleaning out some rusty tools and other basement junk, he found an old piece of equipment he didn't recognize. It looked like a pump with a couple of old tubes coming out of it.
Hodgkin's lymphoma. That's the type of cancer, right? Like leukemia. Could someone Amazon Beardo a new brain? It has gas problems. I know. The whole case excuse to distract people from this son who was...
Turns out, it was embalming equipment.
For
Corpses.
no.
Alan kept renovating. He found 2 rooms. One was the embalming room, complete with equipment and rusty floor drains. The other room was a casket display room.
No.
The Snedekers now realized why the rent was so low on such a big house. It used to be a funeral home. The Hallahan funeral home, to be exact. Philip's bedroom would be the former casket room.
Where have you
almost
sent the
immediately,
email?
he heard strange sounds and voices. He saw dark figures moving in the shadows. He saw a man with white hair and a pinstripe suit. One night, he
The son was also an addict and a local dealer for the kid. Really?
saw bodies stacked up against the wall. Philip was so frightened, he asked to sleep in the hospital, which his parents didn't allow.
I can't remember that kid's name. He's got a weird name. He's still in loads of horror films and stuff. What a fantastic, underrated actor. I just want to get that out there. What an incredible actor he is.
Carmen thought Philip was hallucinating because of his cancer medication. But then everyone started seeing and hearing things.
Well, how many bodies passed through that house over the years?
Well, it was a funeral home for a few decades, so...
Thousands of bodies.
Yeah.
Nope.
The Snedekers knew they had ghosts. At first, the ghosts just made sounds and moved things around the house. They would find light bulbs unscrewed from their sockets, but still somehow emitted light. And all through the house was the smell of feces and decay. It became unbearable. The entire family was terrified.
And also, maybe getting two different cases mixed up here. The top floor actually had somebody else living up there that never heard a thing. Fleury will probably be able to tell me if I'm correct or not there. But I think it's this one, but there's definitely a case where all hell was breaking loose, yet the people or the person living upstairs didn't hear a thing.
And just when they couldn't take it anymore, the ghosts became violent. What began as strange sounds, smells, and visions of spirits soon became much more.
Awesome actor.
The spirits became physically violent. One night, both Carmen and her niece Tammy had a terrifying encounter. Carmen woke up and felt a dark energy around her. She couldn't see anything, but she felt cold hands reaching under her pajamas and grabbing at her underwear. Then she heard an evil laugh. Carmen's niece had the same exact encounter,
hey, Cody.
But she was scared. Whoa. What was that?
Well, you can't say...
Top floor, the woman living there, and she said nothing was happening. The media circuit started after they couldn't pay their rent. Yeah, that was the big thing with them. They were in financial ruin.
Here, we'll get demonetized
He was in
again.
Smile? Yeah.
Oh, we don't want that.
No, we don't. So we'll censor it, and the grown-ups out there can fill in the blanks.
Good thinking. Eventually, both Carmen and her husband Alan were scared by the entity multiple times.
Which case is it where a person was thrown against the wall from another room? That was the Conjuring, according to the Warrens, but the father says she slightly levitated. Perron, the daughter, says she levitated quite a bit. It's just all over the place.
One night, Carmen finally saw the ghosts. One had long white hair and white eyes. The other had black hair and black eyes. That's when they called Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens and their team of investigators spent 9 weeks in the Snedeker house. And during that time, they saw everything the Snedekers reported. Members of the team were pushed, slapped, even knocked to the ground. Ed and Lorraine searched the history of the home. They discovered...
Sorry, I had a good video on the Snedekers. They went on a talk show and the neighbours showed up and called bullshit. I haven't seen that one. That's strange. David had a few disorders. Schizophrenia was in there too.
That one of the morticians who worked there was a necrophiliac.
Definition?
Oh, he had a thing for corpses.
Worst hobby ever.
Ed said that
this is the bit that annoys me.
Spirit infused the home with evil. The Warrens felt that an exorcism would work. And after the house was cleansed, the Snedekers moved out. Then the Warrens hired authors.
The Conjuring wasn't based on this one. Haunted in Connecticut was, but they didn't feature the Warrens. You have to watch the talk show thing, Beardo. It's hilarious. I'm definitely going to check that out.
Ray Garton to document everything that happened in the house. The documentation of these events became the book In a Dark Place, the story of a true
What's our
haunting.
reaction was
The Snedeker case was also made into
the
movie The Haunting in Connecticut, released in 2009. Since the Snedekers moved out, nobody has reported anything strange in the house since. And the owner makes sure to tell all renters that it was once a funeral home, and that the renters should keep that in mind before they sign the lease. Ed and Lorraine Warren are possibly the most successful paranormal investigators in history. They've written or contributed to at least 30 books about their cases. Their work has inspired the movies in the Conjuring universe.
You had a stiff for a stiff. Oh.
A film franchise worth over $2 billion. But the Warrens have their detractors, with many skeptics calling them outright frauds and grifters. So what's the truth? Well, Ed and Lorraine Warren met when they were 16 years old at a local movie theater. Their conversation soon moved to the paranormal. Ed believes he grew up in a haunted house, and Lorraine claimed to be clairvoyant. They were married when they were 19 when Ed was on leave from the army. They soon made their livings as artists. They would go to houses that they believed were haunted, paint them, and then try to sell the painting to the owner.
Oof, that's a rough racket.
It was. So Ed supplemented their income by driving a bus. Though they were making a name for themselves locally as paranormal investigators, their breakthrough came in 1979 with the Amityville horror case.
Original nut, 100%. I believed Ghost Watch, but my parents sent me to bed before the Parkinson thing happened because I was getting scared as a kid. And then when I watched it again a few years ago, I was like, holy, I can't believe I fell for this. Hang on, Parkinson got possessed? What the fuck?
When the Warrens arrived in Amityville, They brought an entire film crew with them. Unfortunately, the film crew didn't capture anything except for the moanings of a few psychics.
Yeah, and the ghost boy.
Right, the ghost boy on top of the stairs. Yeah, that's a creepy photo. But it's actually a photograph of Paul Bartz.
Oh, the more...
Oh, he's gone there. I wonder if he'll shout Biddle or Dandalf out for this. I'm one or the other of those pick this out first. I'm sure of it.
No, Paul Bartz was one of the investigators. He doesn't have glowing eyes. That's just light reflecting off his glasses. The cameras snapped a picture of him when he was setting up some equipment. But the photo became so famous that nobody bothered to refute it. Now, the Lutzes did call Father Pecoraro to bless the house, which he did. He also said there was nothing strange about the house. It was a peaceful and lovely home. Other parts of the story are also a little sketchy. The Lutzes couldn't have seen hoof prints in the snow because there was no snow at that time.
I didn't know that bit.
And all the damage that supposedly happened to the house didn't. Doors, windows, the entire house was in perfect shape when they moved in and when they left.
That's the guy, Dandalf, yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't said about you or Biddle there. How old is this video, come to think of it? It's only 2 years ago. I'm sure Kenny did this like 7 years ago.
The Amityville story was actually created by Butch DeFeo's lawyer, William Weber, and the Lutz family. One night they were discussing a way to help.
Yeah, sorry, when I'm saying Dandalf debunked it, I mean Mr. Grey. I'm not sure which one of them did it first. Doesn't mean one has copied the other. Debunkers do it all the time. We all see something that piques our interest and we make videos. Me and Seg have brought the same a video out on the same day about the same topic without discussing it.
Each other. Weber wanted an insanity verdict for...
Mr. Grey covered it when he had 3K subs or so. Jesus, that long ago. Wi-Files has no idea who we are. That came from somewhere, right? He's a researcher.
For Butch DeFeo. He was also working on a book deal. The Lutzes were struggling financially and they liked the sound of a book deal. Weber said that after 4 bottles of wine, their meeting turned into a creative writing session. But the Lutzes didn't like their cut of Weber's book deal. Author Jay Anson offered the Lutzes 50-50. That they liked. And with millions of books selling like crazy and movie offers coming at them, it was in their financial interest to stick with the story. The Amityville horror story is definitely debunked. The next case we talked about was Annabelle, the possessed doll. This story is easier to track. It's basically a retelling, beat for beat, of the Twilight Zone episode Living Doll, which aired in 1963 on CBS. Here's the synopsis.
Eric Streeter is upset when his wife comes home with her daughter Christy, having bought her yet another doll. Christy loves her new talking Tina doll, but her stepfather takes an immediate dislike to it.
Please tell me he's got the mother's name from this episode.
Anytime he is alone with the doll, it spouts abusive comments to the effect that it hates him and that it's going to kill him.
My name is Eric Streeter, and I'm going to get rid of you.
You wouldn't dare.
It's a great episode, and every Twilight Zone fan knows it. Ed and Lorraine were apparently fans of the show too and co-opted the story. Still not convinced? The mother's name in the Twilight Zone episode was Annabelle. We can call that one debunked. Now how about Bathsheba Sherman, the witch that tormented the Perrons as portrayed in The Conjuring? When The Conjuring was released in 2013, the owner of the house at the time, Norma Sutcliffe, was tortured.
By the witch?
No, by movie fans. She released a video that year complaining about how her property was descended upon by horror fans. At all hours, day or night, there would be people in her yard, exploring the barn on her property, and even sticking cameras and phones through her window. She was furious. She even sued Warner Brothers over this. In her video, Norma goes on to debunk basically the whole story. Bathsheba was a real person, but that's about all the story gets right. She never lived in that house, never killed anyone. By all accounts, she was a lovely woman. She died peacefully at the age of 73.
So, very little murdering of children?
Very little. None, actually. Her last act...
Annabelle, who loves... It was, wasn't it? That was Kojak. It was!
...act before she died was to provide for her grandchildren's education. Norma lived in that house for years. She said nothing strange happened in the house before or since. Now, maybe Norma Sutcliffe just got lucky and the house was haunted when the parents were there. Maybe. They got a few juicy book deals and a movie out of the story. So they said and continue to say their story is true. Oh, the Perrons didn't reach out to Ed and Lorraine Warren for help. The Warrens just showed up. That's something they did a lot. They finally left when Mr. Perron punched Ed in the mouth. So Bathsheba Sherman and The Conjuring? Debunked. The Snedekers case is another...
This is fucking brilliant. Just saying. Brilliant.
Another one that doesn't make the Warrens look good. Ray Garton, the author that Ed Warren hired, really struggled writing the book.
It was difficult with the family involved.
This is the one I
They were
viewed.
going through some serious problems like alcoholism and drug addiction. They could not keep their story straight, and I became very frustrated. It's hard writing a non-fiction book when all the people involved are telling you different stories.
When Garton told
Patrick, it's what annoys me the most, attaching this people's names to horrific hauntings. Exactly. Bathsheba Sherman, the funeral home owners from the Connecticut haunting were just... They were made into villains. Proper nasty villains, and that's not who they were. They got their deaths wrong, they got their lives wrong, they got everything wrong.
Told Ed Warren about this, Ed said, "Oh, they're crazy, only crazy people call us." So Garton asked what he's supposed to do about the book. Ed says, use what works.
Constanza, I've done 3 different Y-Files videos now, and I've not been copywritten.
And just make the rest up, just make it scary. And this was not the first time Ed Warren hired a horror writer for help. Not a journalist, not a biographer, a horror fiction writer. Also, what's not widely reported
Check the comments,
is that
which hate
Philip,
does he
their
get from
son
the
with
Warrens
cancer,
fans?
was caught touching and trying to rape his cousins. He even got pretty close once. Police took him to a mental hospital where he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And schizophrenia could certainly explain why he was seeing and hearing things.
Yeah, but it wouldn't explain why everyone else was.
Okay. No, but the Snedekers lived in the house for 2 years without an incident. But
he went there? Jesus.
After they got behind on the rent and their landlady had begun eviction proceedings, suddenly the house was haunted. Also, their story has a lot of details that sound like the movie The Entity, which was popular and super scary. What's also not widely reported is that the family dealt with alcoholism and drug addiction, which makes everything worse. In fact, Ray Garton said that while he was working on the book, he never actually saw Philip, and the Snedekers never mentioned what kind of cancer he had. He did speak to Philip on the phone, and Philip told him that when he stayed on his medication, the ghost stopped. Then Philip's mother quickly ended the call. Ray Garton and some of the Snedekers' neighbors suspected the family might have been using cancer as a cover story for Philip's mental health problems and drug addiction. And despite their claims, they were fully aware that the house was a funeral home. And there was a tenant living in the upstairs apartment who never saw or heard anything. The Snedekers' neighbors, their landlady, even the person writing the book about the case, all said the story was made up. This
can't argue with fact.
This one is safely debunked. The Enfield poltergeist is a tricky one. We know at least some of the story was a hoax because Janet admitted to it, and the kids were caught multiple times faking so-called paranormal incidents. And people say the voice was coming from her without her mouth moving, but there's plenty of video of her mouth moving. And the photo of Janet levitating above the bed looks a lot like her jumping off the bed. And that picture was taken with a
You wonder if the Y-Files know you do? Probably not. Doesn't make a difference. Hey, Chris Williams. The reason I picked the Y-Files is the mystery first and then the realization after. The Hecklefish is hilarious. It's just so well put together. There's a few little bits here and there. You could see he's got a little bit wrong on a couple of them. Some of the stuff in here, the information was slightly off, but slightly, you know?
Motion-controlled camera in the girl's bedroom, so nobody else was in the room to confirm what actually happened. This was another case where the movie exaggerates the Warrens' involvement. Again, they just showed up uninvited. They stayed for a few hours, looked around, and left the following day. Ed Warren did have a chance to speak to Guy Playfair, the investigator who spent the most time with the family. Ed told Guy he could make a lot of money from this case. Guy wasn't...
That wasn't Guy.
interested, but the Warrens wrote it up anyway. They cashed in and called this another one of their 10,000 cases. Except they didn't investigate 10,000 cases. If they did one case a day without a day off, that...
I think it's fine to react channels like and stories like this. Most of these kind of channels accept and understand the fan coverage and advertising they channel. Yeah, exactly. I mean, right at the beginning, I've told you exactly who it is, what the video is about, and please go and like and stuff. I'll do it again at the end because this isn't... By rights, I should tell you, Cider Guy does it, I should tell you to go and watch and like and whatever the original content, no matter what my feelings on it are. I just feel icky saying go and check out these fakers. This isn't that. This is something that I fully endorse, fully support, and fully enjoy. I can't remember who, I think it was CRL suggested this to me and sold to the fat man in the loud shirt.
It would take them 27 years. So we caught Ed stretching the truth again. Speaking of, there is one true horror story here. His name is Ed Warren.
He's going there! It's not so much excited. That's a very touchy subject, and it's a very, like, careful how you say it. I'm shocked that I haven't got into trouble for my mouth and how I've called out Ed for it.
Feelings for her. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, soon Judith moved into the Warrens' house. Her relationship with Ed continued for over 40 years, and Lorraine knew all of this. Judith's bedroom was directly across from the Warrens. Eventually, they built an apartment for her upstairs, and according to Judith Penny's sworn testimony, Ed would sleep downstairs sometimes and upstairs sometimes. Their marriage wasn't as perfect as it's been portrayed.
You want to know what's worse? Judy, his daughter, was the same age. Oh, my fucking...
Judith said Ed would often beat Lorraine, sometimes knocking her unconscious. She said she was worried he might kill Lorraine one day. Ed often told Judith that she was the love of his life. And in 1978, she became pregnant.
Whoa, she had his baby?
Nope.
But, oh no.
Mm-hmm. She was told...
I knew a lot of this. I knew a lot of it. And I've alluded to it in videos before, and I've said things in videos before. The video that's coming out tomorrow, I react to Tony Spira telling us all to go to hell, and I was like, well, at least we'll know Ed, because that's where he is. Allegedly, because he's allegedly, but there we go.
The child would complicate the Warrens' business. When attorney Jill Smith was working through the Warrens' movie contract, there was specific language that she had never seen before. Now, it's not unusual for producers to sign a non-disclosure.
This I knew about, and I think I've mentioned in tomorrow's video, or I've mentioned it in a previous video, about the things they weren't allowed to do, buying the movie right. I think it was CRL told me that they bought the movie rights, and in with the movie rights, they were not allowed to discuss love life at all. Why would you buy movie rights to something that you're not allowed to discuss? To stop anyone else making a movie about it.
Disparagement clause when adapting a true story. Nobody wants to sell their story and then look bad. But this contract specifically said that the movies could not depict an extramarital affair, relationships with minors, and some other specific things that I won't get into here. But suffice it to say, the descriptions were graphic. Now, in the Warrens' defense, they said Judith was a girl they took in for charity, and she would watch the house when they were traveling. Judy and Tony Spera, the Warrens' daughter and son-in-law, say they never saw any of the alleged conduct.
And Judy wouldn't have seen that conduct because Judy didn't live with the Warrens. I may be wrong here, but I think that's something I picked up from watching Flurio. Flurio, you can correct me if I'm wrong. She actually stayed with the grandparents because these pair were off scamming everyone. So no, Tony wouldn't have been aware of any of it because Tony wouldn't have been anywhere near the place at that time.
The Speras believe Judith Penny is being manipulated. Though I don't know for what purpose. She's in her 70s, married, and doesn't make any money from the films. Though Warner Brothers did offer her $150,000 for her life story.
Hush money.
Yup. Judith says she remained friendly with Ed until his death in 2006.
The movie rights the other
but
day.
Despite her fondness for him, what he did was despicable and a crime. What it all comes down to is this. No case that the Warrens worked on was ever supported by any evidence besides...
Didn't live with them. She lived with the grandma. Lorraine sent her away. I think Lorraine tried to protect it. Oh, Jesus Christ. I knew a lot of this, but this is much darker than I thought.
Their word. Ed claimed to have photos and video, but those were never produced. I did see one video that Ed spoke about. The ghost called...
Yeah, I got a video of a ghost, but you can't see it.
Called the Lady in White.
Oh, if I'm correct about this, Judith, I think it may be Judith, admitted to it being her.
Now that's a pretty compelling video, but Judith Penny said...
Patrick Wilson should be better at picking his roles. I don't think that stuff came out until after the movies. I think it was only after the movies started portraying them to be superheroes that people started speaking out. I think. Don't quote me on it. Lady in White was Judith.
Ed told her to put on a white dress and walk around a cemetery, so she did. Now, I'm not saying ghosts aren't real and that the Warrens lied about everything. I am saying they lied about some things, and because of that, we have to question everything they say. Ed Warren was a self-proclaimed demonologist. He said that anyone who was possessed by a demon, he could find and eradicate it. I guess he would know. Ed Warren had a few demons of his own.
I am obviously going to skip the sponsorship segment, so please go and check out the Y Files. From Amityville to Annabelle, the truth of Ed and Lorraine Warren's scariest case. That got so dark. It's heartbreaking, but then also Lorraine was the finesse person to the cons and ripped families off. Yeah, she wasn't innocent by any stretch of the imagination, which is sad. Very sad, because it takes I don't even I kind of speechless. Kind of. It's hard to sift through the bullshit of the Warrens. Right, so I've replaced the message at the top of the chat. That will take you through to that video from the Y Files. Please subscribe to him, like, comment on his videos and all of that stuff. He certainly doesn't need it, but it's the right thing to do, because we're enjoying content that he's put hours and hours and hours into. So please go and check out that original content. That's very important when it's somebody doing the good work like that.
A few other psychics there, and then they had an assistant named Paul Bartz, who was also there. People, we're going to get into that in a little bit, because that's the main focus of our investigation. But
Kenny doesn't look a day younger. I mean, how old is this video? 3 years ago. Kenny doesn't age. True story.
Continue on with the timeline. There was, let's see, in 1976, August 30th, the Lutzes returned the second floor landing, which is, this is what you're seeing, the second floor. The room, this is a bathroom, this is a closet, like a towel closet, and then this is Missy's room.
Beardo, Mariah, nobody has to ask to use my content, whether it's in a positive or negative manner. People can do what they like with my content. I will never copyright claim or strike anyone. That's how he's so small. The shirt looks slightly different in pattern because this is night vision.
Daughter. And then the sewing room is off right next to it here. So Gene Campbell set up a camera in the corner here on the landing, and he set it up with many rolls of film. And that's a common description. That's a common story element, that many rolls of film were shot. Many rolls of infrared film. And that's important. That's an important detail, because he switched from regular black and white film to infrared black and white film, which comes with its own problems, because it's very hard to load, because you really have to, it's got to be almost complete darkness to load infrared film into a camera, or you ruin it.
I like pineapple on pizza.
So there's issues with that, but there was also a cheaper version, a lower grade kind of infrared film that was also available.
If you look at the angle of that neck, that is somebody doing that. That is somebody leaning out. I don't think he leaned out to fake the photograph. I think he leaned out because he knew the camera was there and didn't want to trigger it. He's waiting because it's on a timer. I think he was waiting and he caught himself in the photo, but they've just used it.
Where you could do it in very low light. And that's probably what was used here. But anyway, he set it up and he took a whole bunch of pictures. Like I said, I only saw about 6 different images from that roll of film, but it's constantly described as many rolls of film. And I think Ed Warren says something about there was 40-some pictures taken, or 40-some copies of this view that you see here. Anyway.
Seeing all this love for Kenny, absolutely. How Kenny is not a bigger channel than me, I don't know. Dandalf, I don't know why he's not a bigger channel than me. I really don't.
And that would be this guy, Paul Bartz.
Notice the cowlick.
Bartz. Now, Paul Bartz is described usually as another investigator there with Ed and Lorraine Warren, that he was part of their crew or their team, and he was there investigating the house, which he probably was. But we also learned from a later newspaper article, and I'm going to put that up on the side here, that he was also their agent. So Paul Bartz was Ed and Lorraine Warren's.
If you are looking at that shirt like, close, but not exactly, the infrared will change how that shirt looks. investigations I've done, my hat will look black, but my hoodie will look white. I'm not wearing a white hoodie, it's black. Certain trousers appear white, other trousers appear black. A lot of things that are dyed black show up as white. So that's why that shirt would have changed so much. I imagine because there's red in there.
So
they did have IR, but it was very difficult to work with.
really hate accusing people directly of a hoax, especially because Paul Bartz is not with us anymore and he can't defend himself. Neither can Ed and Lorraine Warren.
I'll say it for you, Kenny. Bunch of fucking scam artists. I've got no time for Ed.